Oh, you're on there, yeah.
No, I'm not on there.
Okay, right. But you watch some consumer videos, sure. Yeah, you can check out.
I appreciate
My pleasure.
your your efforts to put things out there and to
Thank you.
To have decent conversations.
That's
I think
the goal.
It's so important.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So you wanted to talk about human life, you said. And what about human life were you thinking of? What do you have in mind?
Well, I think all humans have dignity and are made in the image of an ultimate creator.
Okay. And so you feel like everybody has this dignity, and we're
all humans.
All humans.
All people who have 26 pair of chromosomes, and who are members of the human race. I think have dignity and deserve the basic rights of life, liberty, and pursuit.
Right.
Yeah.
So we all deserve rights.
Yes.
And so is that kind of what dignity means for you? Is preserving those rights? Is that okay to say?
I would say that dignity is our acceptance, and on the other side, of each other's worth.
Accepting each other's worth. So, do you
everyone's worth?
Yeah, I gotcha. And sometimes that helps to think of examples where maybe people aren't showing dignity to each other.
Right,
Can you think of an example
like
that?
People who are as yet unborn, people who are in an aged state and not able to speak for themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyone who's not able to speak for themselves.
Gotcha.
People who have conditions that make them unable to speak for themselves.
Yeah. So it can be disabilities or old age or
pre-born.
Being pre-born as well. Yeah. And on the pre-born side, is that for you? Does that extend all the way to like conception type thing? Okay, got it. And so, what are some examples that you can think of where we're not showing, where people are not given that dignity that you're talking about?
Well, just using the example of the preborn, taking people's lives while they're in the womb, when they can't speak for themselves and aren't able to say that they are, that they want those rights.
Got it.
Defended.
Right. Okay. So by taking preborn lives, that's showing that there's no value in that human life, and it's a problem in the world. Is that
yes?
Okay
I think it's a big problem in the world, because I think once you do that, the slope is slippery, and it's easy to justify the taking of rights from other human beings and depriving them of their dignity. Right.
Gotcha. And if you were to put on a scale of like 0 to 100, the question of, or the statement, all human life deserves dignity, where would you put yourself on that confidence scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is meaning you just have all questions about it, you're not certain?
No, 100.
100%.
100%, yes. All human life has dignity, yeah.
Got it, okay. And what does that 100% mean to you in terms of like,
it means that, I abhor the taking of any human life without any human life.
Yeah.
Other than in the case of self-defense.
Okay, got it. So self-defense could be.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is something that I'd like to look at. We got a couple minutes still. Are there scenarios where you do see reasons not to keep that human dignity? Like when you say
No.
self-defense?
No.
Okay.
Well, self-defense, if someone is murdering me,
Yeah.
I think I do have the right to defend my
Right.
existence. And in the same case, in the case of, mothers bearing children where their lives are literally, where they will die or the child will die, I don't think we can require martyrhood from people. Martyrhood is is a heroic act and the greatest of all acts, to lay down your life for the life of another, but I don't think it can be required of people. So in the case where, a person was literally going to perish
Right.
if they were to continue that, I don't think you can require that. I think it's a beautiful thing if people do, but you can't require it.
Does it have to be that life and death situation, or can it be like a debilitation or something like that? Like if in the case of a pregnancy or something that may lead to a disability, but maybe not the loss of the mother's life, would that be?
I don't know that there are any cases where there are where it would lead to where pregnancy leads to disability. Okay. If a pregnancy endangers someone's life, it's usually to the point of death.
I see.
So I don't think that's even. I think that's a straw man there. Yeah.
Gotcha. So life and death or self-defense. And this is an odd question about if you're already at 100%, is there anything that could make you more confident about the statement that all humans have dignity?
I am completely convinced that all humans have dignity just by virtue of being our brothers and sisters, part of our human tribe.
And what is the main reason for that? Do you feel that you feel that so strongly?
I think it's evident. I think any moral code, prevents people from murdering, fellow human beings, and I think science shows us that people who are in a sentient state are still human, and people who are preborn are still human. So I feel very certain that to deprive those people of life is a great evil.
Got it.
And leads to more evil in our society.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you think of anything that might make you less confident in the idea of preserving all human life?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I think that is probably the cornerstone of human existence. It affirms our own existence. It affirms your existence. It affirms my existence. Yeah. Your mother considered you worth bringing into the world. My mother considered me worth bringing into the world. I hope, should you be in an insentient state, people would be around to defend your dignity, as I would hope they would be around to defend mine. Right. I think children in the womb of people who are pursuing abortion are as much my responsibility to defend as I would defend my own children's, as I would defend my own children's dignity.
Gotcha.
And I hope that's the case. I would hope that every person would defend the life of a defenseless child in any circumstance. Right. Defenseless human being,
Got it. Yeah, I think that people do tend to be good-natured, and I feel like in a situation they would
absolutely
try to save each other.
Right. I think of a situation, I've often thought of this, if you were, suppose you were crossing the Mojave Desert and there was a sign at the beginning, you were stopping to provision yourself, and they said, bring enough water for you and whoever's in your car. It says, and by the way, make sure your car is locked when you come in here, because people might come and enter your vehicle, to get a ride across there.
Right.
If you then got halfway across and realized there was a child in the back seat who you didn't know about, and who now threatens your existence because now you don't have enough water for everybody, do you have the right to murder them? Say, well, I didn't plan on this.
Right.
I did, I was, even though you were warned at the beginning, you know, what do you have that right to deprive them of life because they have now become an inconvenience?
That's
in the field over there.
oh, dog interruptions, but that's a really interesting analogy that I hadn't heard before.
I haven't heard it either. I just thought it.
It's good. So,
can you think of any circumstance where it would be, where you would be allowed to murder that child in the back seat that's crept into your car?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You didn't invite that child.
Right.
You were warned at the beginning that it might happen, and you pursued, you know, and you didn't lock your doors, but the child got in somehow anyway, and you now do you have the right to deprive that child of life?
Yeah, that's a really interesting example. I'm wondering, is there a counter argument that you've heard, like that maybe you considered, if someone were to disagree with you, what do you think they would say?
I totally understand people's proclivity towards their own convenience. We are by nature, and we are driven by fear as well. And I think, you know, in the case of abortion, say, or even in the case of, say, an insentient relative who may incur tremendous bills or whatever, I think people's fear, it's understandable that people make decisions out of fear and out of a sense of not wanting to inconvenience themselves. That also is very human. Right. But it's not the best side of our humanity.
Yeah.
I think the best side of our humanity is one that affirms the dignity of every person who is one of us.
Cool.
No matter their color, no matter their gender, no matter where they are in the spectrum of life. Right. You know, we only have a short time to be here. You know, why deprive someone of that short voyage?
Right. Awesome. Well, I think that's all the questions I have. My timer went off. Do you have any questions for me or anything?
Yeah. What do you think about children in the womb?
So I think that I'm not sure that. I think there is a question there that I'm not settled on yet. I think that there's so many like.
What's not settled? Are those people humans? You mean that part?
I think that's part of it. That maybe I'm not sure what the point is that you know that is a life that that deserves all the same rights as someone that can survive outside of the womb.
Well, but you just said a life that deserves. We're not talking about the life. We're talking about are they human? Are they human? Because I said at the beginning, all humans deserve. Do you not think that all humans deserve dignity? Do you have questions about that?
I think I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
I think I agree with the statement.
So then your question is,
that all humans.
when does someone become a human? That's what your question is. And what I would ask you is, have you ever seen an ultrasound of a baby at, say, 15 weeks?
Yes. Yeah.
Scratching their face and sucking their thumb at 15 weeks.
I think I have seen one.
In fact,
of that.
earlier than that. Yeah. Can you not?
Right.
Does it take a lot of imagination to think that they are humans like we are?
So I think that I don't think it takes a lot of imagination to make that statement that they are a human. I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not totally confident about it because I don't trust myself to just make that judgment based on just the look, you know, if that makes sense. But
well, it's not just the look. I mean,
gotcha.
Scientifically speaking, they have every single attribute of a human being that you and I have. The only thing is they're not breathing on their own, and that's the same case of people who are insentient and who are on a breathing machine.
So if they didn't have all the attributes, would that shift?
For me, no. But I have heard people make that thing. But I have seen, I thought I've had this conviction for decades, and I thought back in the 1970s, or actually it was in the 1980s, I thought that when ultrasound became, because back then you couldn't really see what was going on. You had this vague thing. People would have to say, see, there's a foot. And there's Now they can take a picture of a baby in the womb that's just like you and me standing here, just like what there's on here.
And, the technology.
And I thought at the time, I thought, once the technology catches up, there will be no way to deny that these are people. These are very, very innocent and very, very helpless people, and to deny them their lives is a awful barbaric thing.
I think one other, even if we were to grant that, I think one other one that gets me on the side of allowing abortions and things like that is, I'm sure you've heard the argument of bodily autonomy stuff, where if you imagine that we just woke up the next morning and we were attached to another person in a hospital bed, and they were relying on us to survive.
That's why I said you can't require martyrhood if it was going to, but but you're not allowed to kill them just because it's inconvenient, or because you don't want to be attached to them anymore. No.
And I think that's maybe where I'm not sure about that. Like, I feel like if this person is relying on my life,
because it's very inconvenient for you.
Right. I think that
convenience is a very, Would you agree, though, that convenience is not something for which we should deprive people of their lives?
So me personally, I think I would probably agree with that. Like, I would say, like, I may stay there and take the inconvenience.
Right.
But
you're saying you don't think...
Should I think it be legally required that I stay there? That's where I'm, like, not so sure. Does that make sense?
But our law does include that. Like, for instance, if you're in a situation where, let's just use a child because they are helpless.
Sure. Yeah.
A baby is left in your home and during a snowstorm and you can't get anywhere else. You're not allowed to put it outside and let it die.
Yeah.
And it's required. Its continuance requires your care.
Yeah.
But if you were to put it outside and let it die, you'd be guilty of murder.
Right.
Or at least
I think you have some really interesting arguments, and I'm going to definitely be thinking about this a lot more. So I really appreciate your conversation.
Right. Well, good. I hope so. And I'll look at your YouTube channel because I'm a YouTube.
You're on there. Yeah.
No, I'm not on there.
Okay. Right, but you watch some consumer videos, sure. Yeah, you can check out.
I appreciate
my pleasure.
Your efforts to put things out there and to
thank you.
To have decent conversations.
That's the goal.
So important.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yes, I hope it was an okay conversation for you.
I think it was.
Okay.
I would have preferred to. I would have on that issue. It's a very deep issue.
Yeah.
And I would have preferred to go a little deeper than that,
but okay, fair enough.
But anyway, I hope that you have a productive day.
Thank you. You too. I appreciate it, Patty. Have a good day.
Take care.